Alright guys, it's Radiant, and now I've got a video with what I'd call the greatest build for World vs. World and Edge of the Mist for loot farming in giant Zerg vs. Zerg battles. We're actually starting off here with a hard-capped clip. What I mean by that is both enemy Zergs are hard-capped, so there's actually a limit for the amount of players you can have in Edge of the Mist. I think it's around 100. And basically the way you know your map is hard-capped is if you're trying to ferry a friend in and it doesn't put them in your overflow. Because once your match is hard capped, no one else can enter until someone leaves your match. So it might take your friend 5 minutes of trying to get in if your match is hard capped, and then you really get tons of loot, especially obviously when they're balled up. So when they're in the capture circle, or if they have their face on the gate, especially on the northern towers. People on Edge of the Mist are really slow at taking their face off the gate. Once they put their face on the gate, they don't really pay attention, and they just never turn around. Like you have 3/4 their Zerg dead, they just don't turn around. But the build's in the description, but more about it if you want to hear. It's a zerker build with wells, and most importantly, you want to trait your wells to where they have the ground targeting. Otherwise, they're more or less useless. I trait my staff to make the marks bigger, and then I have the reduced recharge. Staff skills, the marks, really good for tagging. The wells are awesome for tagging as well because it's 5 pulses and you can hit 5 people with each pulse, and not necessarily even the same people, so that's even better. Then Death Shroud skill 4, with each pulse you'll hit 5 people, and you just try to tag as many as possible with that one. And then Plague, you're also hitting 5 people with every pulse. I trait my Plague to where I have the chilled on blind, so every time they're blinded from skill 2 on Plague, they also get a second of chilled. It has no recharge and it can hit all 5 of them, and awesome for tagging as well. And I'm fast forwarding this clip to show you what happens after. We also run into an Overgrowth Zerg, so it's the second engagement. But this is going to probably be more important for World vs. World. As you remember, I hope Edge of the Mist has more karma training, more putting your face to gates, and not a lot of Zerg vs. Zerg confrontation. This particular commander we have, which is rare, he likes Zerg vs. Zerg a lot more. And in fact, this whole week, from every single clip you're going to see will be from this commander. I think it was from 4 different Edge of the Mist matches, but this whole week for this match, Overgrowth had 2 tier 1 servers, and Frost Reach had just 1, of course. But Overgrowth won basically every match I saw except for 1. So they definitely have the most amount of players. They get around 80, and of course it's still World vs. World season, but they get around 80 on average. Frost Reach maybe 20. But of course we don't have 20 now because we have this commander, Zushin, who's the Maguma Karma Train commander, and he brought in tons of Maguma players. So this is 80% Maguma, but it's all pugs still. But anyway, we're just wiping lots of Zergs and showing you guys just how much loot this build gets. Pretty impressive. Look at that Magic Find going to work. Look at all those spikes. 200% Magic Find. I'm getting a lot of junk. But really, really good at getting loot. I'd also say make sure you are in a party. That'll get you more loot, because stuff that you tag and stuff that if they hit stuff that you have tagged, that's kind of like you getting another hit on it. So if you know you need to do like a certain amount of damage to get credit for, and there's my inventory filling up. Look at that. You need to do like a certain amount of damage to an enemy to get credit for getting loot for them and get credit for killing them. So whoever you have tagged, when your party members hit them, that's like you hitting them also. So that's how it gives you credit. So if you want your party members to kind of be tagging the people that you're tagging, that's how you get the credit from it. And then really no excuse not being a party. You can just say LFG, whatever, get people in your group. But if you're going to want to use this build, you definitely need the wells use ground targeting, or else it's just not going to work at all. And remember, they changed the traits, so you have to be a higher level for that, unfortunately. But I'd say this is number one, just over the Guardian loot farm build. As you guys know, staff skill 1 talked about a lot more than this. That's more because it's kind of gimmicky. Engineer with the flamethrower, and then thief with the short bow and dagger storm, also really awesome loot. And I'm fast forwarding again because look, there's a second Zerg confrontation. I'd also say this has the number 1 CC in the game. A lot of people consider elementals to be the greatest CC, greatest crowd control. It's really up there. But plague, skill 2, blind and chilled for a second. Every second, tagging 5 people every second. It's just hard to beat. And I've noticed this is with a Zerker build. Necromancer's definitely the tankiest profession for the light armor classes. It has a really nice health pool, and between the death shroud and the plague that you have, it really helps survive. I don't really come close to downing in most of these clips. But remember, this is Edge of the Mist, and a lot of people are very squishy. They just die a lot quicker here than in World vs. World. They just down really quick. They have offensive gear because they come out of PvE, and PvE typically have pretty offensive gear. And I'll bring some World vs. World clips later. I just transferred off kiting so I can finally do World vs. World again with real Zergs. But yeah, that's gonna wrap up this video. Any more questions, leave it in the comments, and I'll see you guys for the next video. Thanks for watching.